So one of the things we've been telling creators is don't just think of a story you want to tell, think of a world that you want to build. I'm not interested in AI as recreating a process that we already have and already works. I'm way more interested in AI creating something that would have otherwise been impossible without it.
Hello, everybody.
I'm in the crack.
Yeah. So we didn't get to see the video, but you guys did. What do you think? Cool? Awesome. Awesome. Well, my name is Christopher Sinnott. I work at Amazon. I help support immersive compute, physical AI, and creative tools. And I talk to customers every day who are pushing the gamut with technology. Today, I've brought three of my favorite. First, Matt Celia from Lightsail VR. Just won an Emmy for SNL 50.
Thank you.
Devin Poolman, CTO at Cosm. If you haven't been to Cosm, the words are, you have to experience it to believe it. It's an immersive stage. Yeah, go ahead, applause, love to that. They have immersive stages in Inglewood and Dallas and are growing. And last but not least, Katya-Alexander, an award-winning producer. She's the head of production at Showrunner AI. Showrunner is changing the way in not only how we produce content, but also how we consume it. So we're gonna dig in with these folks today. Now, I know this is a conference about AI, but we have people in front of us. So we're gonna dig in to their experiences as humans around this technology. So kicking us off, my first memory of content as a young person was Saturday Night Live. And I think when you look at Saturday Night Live, you don't think, oh, great VR experience. But Matt, you won an Emmy for it. Talk to me about why you said yes to such a project, and how did you make it immersive? What did you do?
I mean, Saturday Night Live was one of those amazing opportunities, but like it's such a duh moment, right? Like who wouldn't want to be in Studio 8H at the 50th anniversary surrounded by the funniest, most talented entertainers in the world? Like when you look for what immersive can do, we always say that it brings you into a new space. It gives you access. It puts you in an environment. It is really the most incredible studio on the face of the earth to be surrounded by it. And it just was like a duh, we have to do this. Now, they did it 10 years ago for the 40th, but they did it with hacked together GoPros and like the technology just like wasn't really quite there yet. So when the opportunity was, hey, I think they might be interested in letting you put a camera in here, I was like, yes. And we can make it so much better and clearer and crisper, which I think we did. And we actually captured the entire 3-hour show, which I think is the most amount that's ever been. And surprisingly though, there was a little bit of like, I don't know if we should do this. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, we have to make this immersive.
I'm gonna ask you a question. How many people here have seen the SNL 50 immersive experience? Show of hands. 2 people. Well, and see, that's the tragedy.
I know.
I think there's a difficulty in adoption, but also these experiences are so good. They're so worthwhile. So 1, I recommend you go check it out. But 2, adoption of new tech can be difficult. Cosm has been approaching it in a hybrid fashion. Devin, do you want to talk a little bit about how Cosm has engaged a stage that brings people together, but also brings them into the experience?
Well, I think what we just heard as well is really representative that you think about immersive media, there's really an incredible amount of immersive production, whether it's live, whether it's film works, that doesn't have a lot of outlet, getting 2 hands out of this room. When we started Cosm, we saw the opportunity in, anchoring us is literally live sports and immersive live sports, but we saw the opportunity of immersive live sports in headset is a wow moment, but not the distribution, and also a different type of experience than sharing that in a community setting, in a physical space. And that was really the impetus for us when we started Cosm, was this idea of shared reality, playing on, of course, the AR, VR, XR kind of side of things, which is how do we take those elements that are so transporting in nature, that give you access behind the scenes, which are so unique, or put you on the pitch at a Premier League game at Emirates Stadium, or in the octagon for a UFC fight, or in the Matrix, and do so with fans of the same medium around you. And that shared experience, in a lot of ways, is part of what, if the goal is to transport you, part of being transported is really actually about being there with other people as well, and not just, singularly there.
That's a good point. We have 12 cranial nerves, and I think when we think of immersive experiences, we're often playing on our sight, hearing, and that's kind of where we are right now. Cosm, I know you're serving meals that play to the content in front of you. What was that like?
Well, again, that's a whole part of the experience, is thinking about creating a home for these fans to really feel, I think immerse is an overused term, right? But probably the best term here. And that's not just the visuals in front of you, it's the people around you, but it's also the food and beverage, which of course is, how could you pass up on the opportunity to lean into, in the case of the Matrix, we do a tasting menu where the coursing of the tasting menu is timed to the movie. So not to ruin this moment for
you got to tell
here.
them.
I'll ruin it, but there's more fun elements to it as well. There's that iconic scene where Cypher's negotiating to be reinserted back into the Matrix, and he's eating a steak, and he's talking about he doesn't care if this isn't real. Right before that scene happens, our servers put down, if you're for the tasting menu, they put down, a plate of steak. And you might not realize it, but as soon as that, and so the timing, when it works out well, it's literally groans from the audience of like, oh, now I get why I got the steak. But again, it shows to the importance of thinking about the experience we're ultimately trying to deliver is deeper than just the technology, right? And it's the people, and it's the food, and it's the hospitality, and all those things come together to create really that fan-worthy experience.
Appreciate that, Devin. Everyone up here looks at media from outside of the box, which is why this conversation is exciting. Katya, you talked about how you don't just work with Showrunner, you have friends come over and you play with Showrunner together. What's that like?
Yeah, I mean, one of the really interesting things about Showrunner is it is a very social platform. It's a way that turns media, which can be very passive, into a very active and engaging thing. And one of the big things, especially when I was the only one who had access to Showrunner, my friends would beg me to come over and to Showrunner with me. And we would crack open a beer and sit there, and it was almost like Mad Libs of like, this character is going to be with this character in this moment, and this is what's going to happen. And then we would see the clip that would be generated from that, and all of a sudden we were all building off of each other and trying to make each other laugh. And I'm seeing that a lot even just organically on the platform. People are constantly generating clips to send to their friends to make their friends laugh, or even on our Discord platform, making the other members of that Discord platform laugh. So instead of just watching a show passively, they get to be active members in a show, writing and creating more scenes and more moments.
Gotcha, I love that. And also the social nature of it, similar to Cosm. All of these projects started small first. Matt, you and I spoke about your first VR project.
Yeah.
It was Paranormal Activity, right?
It was.
Blumhouse, and you used the set dressing from a show you were on outside of it to help make it work.
Yeah, it was one of those, we have a philosophy at Lightsail VR, the company I founded, and it's really, and it comes from a thing I have in my house with my wife, which says, say yes, figure it out later. Which I think you have to have that mentality when you're trying to do something new. So for Paranormal Activity, it was actually a funny story. A friend of mine called, saw that I had posted a 3D rig of GoPros on my Facebook. And he said, hey, I'm supposed to do this thing for Paramount, and my production company backed out last minute. I saw on Facebook you have this rig. Could you save me? And I was like, sure. I had no idea what I was doing. Like, we'd just gotten this thing. And, we filmed it in my garage. It was like $10,000. But what was unique about that project was at the time, most horror experiences, this is 2015, were a lot of 3D game engine stuff where everything was happening at you. Like you were on rails and people were trying to scare you, but there wasn't anyone else scared. And my unique take on this was, if you're gonna feel afraid, you need to see other people on screen also afraid. That's how horror works. And so we had real actors, we had them being afraid, and it went viral. It got 10 million views, and people were texting us being like, is the next Paranormal Activity gonna be shot like this? Which I still think they should do, by the way.
Well, so you were shooting in a garage, and weren't you like closing the garage and being like, okay, they're shooting?
Oh, we had nothing. We had no monitoring, so I was outside the garage, like operating a flicker light panel, because my theory was like, I'll edit the things that don't work by dipping to black. And I was just like flickering the lights and listening to the lines and like hoping it worked. And then we got done with it and I realized, oh my God, flickering lights, all these cameras, they're not like sensor locked or anything. It's gonna be a disaster, and I couldn't sleep. So I stitched everything that night. And like at 2:30 in the morning, I watched this first cut and I go, this works. And it was like such an amazing moment.
So thank you. Matt was on set till 3:30 last night, so thank you for being here today.
Late night,
Apparently he
my
likes
life.
to stay up late. But those inception points are super interesting. Devin, when I brought my team to Cosm recently, I was speaking to Brian on your team, and he said, oh, you should have seen opening. Devin was on the roof like putting together furniture right before we launched. Approaching a physical space is not an easy thing. What has it been like from inception until now?
Well, certainly a lot of those things. I mean, I think anybody knows when you kind of build something, there's a point in time where you're just putting one foot in front of the next, right? It seems impossible, and you're putting one foot in front of the next. And honestly, the path to us opening our venue in LA here just over a year ago was very much that. I mean, you know, the fire marshal coming through and being told that we don't have enough lighting on this section of the escalator, and you know, and yes, assembling. I was literally, and as was like 3/4 of our staff, assembling the patio furniture that now you can hang out outside at Cosm and know that I built some of that patio furniture personally with my hands. But again, that's also where a lot of the, I mean, hearing your story, a lot of the kind of pride and enjoyment that comes out of, I'd say, what I do, and this has been the most professionally fulfilling part of my career, is that, you know, you're in the trenches doing every little thing along the way. Opening a venue is very hard. We would not be able to do this if the foundation for Cosm wasn't, we started a little over 5 years ago, coming up on 6 years now, with the acquisition of a couple companies. They're really that core foundation of what we do. On the dome and immersive kind of physical space side, that was a company called Evans & Sutherland that was a public company we took private. World's leading planetarium company, great history in computer graphics. First VR headset was designed and built by Ivan Sutherland of Evans & Sutherland. So this great heritage and history meant that we're building on that foundation to develop now our own physical experiences. But ENS and now Cosm, we power close to 800 planetariums and science centers all around the world. So the idea of having these physical venues that, you know, by the way, what is a planetarium? But, you know, taking us all to space together, right? And now we're taking you to the baseline of a basketball game, or into, you know, Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory, for example, which just launches today. But all those things, that was a foundation for us to be able to deliver on some very hard things, knowing that our team, because the team is critically important, had solved these problems before.
Mm-hmm. And I want to hit on a point here. It's easy to glorify success when you're at the top, to be like, oh, this is great. But all these individuals have been scrappy in getting there. And Devin, you mentioned like the 5 years leading up. That's part of it. Being a founder is being in those trenches. Cosm is seeing wonderful success these days. You have 2 locations. You're opening more. You just announced Harry Potter.
Yeah.
This is an AI conference. I have to ask you, is there an AI component to the content that Cosm is bringing to life?
Yeah, let me address that head on, and then we can speak to some of the nuance. All the work they do in terms of The Matrix, Wonka, and Harry Potter coming up here is traditional, you know, animation effects, right? So we're not throw something into a black box and out through AI pops this immersive experience. So very traditional workflows, working with both our internal team and some external partners to deliver on these experiences. And along the way, and I'd say also, especially for our live workflows, there are elements of AI. I mean, technical elements are very, in my mind, different than the kind of creative, generative AI side. And there's a lot of ways in which we use, call it machine learning and models and AI for some of the technical things that we do. You want to have a, 8K capture in a low light situation look really good. Noise is a problem. How do you get rid of noise these days? There's great AI models for that, right? So there's technical pieces that we use along the way to empower, our creative process and empower our creative partners. But short answer, really pretty traditional workflows going into what we call experiential cinema. So those treatments of the kind of classical films.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think audiences appreciate library content seen in new ways. Katya, you talked about, and I want to get this right, the greatest movie ever lost. You've mentioned using AI to support production on an Orson Welles project. What does your AI tool set do specifically in this instance, and why did you pick this project?
Well, we picked the project because it's the greatest movie ever lost.
I actually didn't know what that was. Can we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so Orson Welles created a movie called Magnificent Ambersons, and it came after he made Citizen Kane, and it was supposed to be his biggest follow-up film to Citizen Kane. It was going to be his next Citizen Kane. And while he was in Brazil filming another film, the studio came in, decided that the movie was too sad, cut out all the sad scenes, refilmed the whole thing, and then burned the film that was initially in the movie. There are questions of if the film...
Make me sad.
It's sad. There's questions in if the film still exists in Brazil, but we have seen memos, because it was sent for him to watch in Brazil. We have seen memos that they told the studio to destroy that, and they have received memos back that it was destroyed. And also, it's been 80 years, and the film that they printed on for a quick screening degrades very quickly. So even if they kept it and they preserved it, it wouldn't exist today. So the film is definitely lost. And you, in speaking about sort of the traditional workflows, it's just interesting because if you showed up on the set for the film, you would feel like it was just a normal film set, that we were filming, a period piece that takes place in the early 1900s about this family. And a lot of the AI workflow comes in to making the characters look exactly like the initial characters in the film, making their voices sound exactly like their initial voices in the film, making the sets look exactly the same. We're filming on a white cyc right now, but the set pieces that they interact with, we have to build those set pieces, the props, and they have to look like the props in the movie. Their clothing looks like the clothing in the movie. And so what I find really fun, even our crew that is sort of against AI are like, this is such a cool use of AI, because we're still hiring this massive crew. We're still filming all of the shoot days. The actors and their performances are still in the film. It's them performing. And so I do believe that a lot of the best uses of AI have to have human fingerprints all over it. Whereas you can use a tool to do something that you couldn't otherwise do before, like recreate this lost footage. But if we were to train a model on the movie and just type in some prompts, we would not receive the same quality that we are receiving working with people, working with actors, working with a director, and doing things in a more traditional way. And so that's sort of the process that we're going on, and it's really interesting the conversations we have to have about it. So an example, there's a scene where in some of the promotional stills, there's something on her lap, but the scene's gone. It doesn't exist, we can't watch it. And so we're like, what's on her lap? Is she sewing? Is she knitting? Is she just holding, a handkerchief? And she walks into the room, so would it be on a chair when she walks into the room? Would she already be holding it? And so it's this really interesting, the nitty-gritty that we have to think through and talk about that I've never thought about on any other project in my entire life. So it's a very unique experience, but still, when you call action and cut, it still feels the same as just being on a regular film set.
Katya, that is beautiful. The best of AI has human fingerprints all over it. Mm-hmm. That is a solid sentiment. I think this audience could resonate. Shepherding traditional workflows, if you will, into AI and helping those fingerprints grow into the AI world. Matt, I think of immersive in the same context, and you spend most of your day working with directors and bringing them to a VR experience, changing the way they shoot, making them change their perspective. What is it like for you, one, from an immersive side, but two, is there an AI component to immersive?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I struggle with the term AI and how we are talking about it in the year 2025. Because I think we're making it too big, right? It's like when VR in 2016 was like, VR, everything is VR. Like there's nuance, right? It's a delivery mechanism. AI is kind of the same thing. There's machine learning to like take out noise, that's AI. I mean, traditional visual effects workflows have been using a form of AI for the last decade, right? And then there's generative AI. And I think that a lot of the buzzy words are like, how are we grappling with someone who's sitting behind a computer typing a prompt of a trained model to spit out new material? But does that have that soul? And I actually really loved what Matt was saying in this morning's like keynote address with Grimes. He was really talking about how like, will this art make you feel something? And is that the thing that's going to really be what causes people to have attention? And that was, I think, the reason I got into immersive was that immersive for me is a medium that makes you feel something, and still, AI isn't approaching that necessarily because we haven't even cracked it normally. You know, like we haven't even figured out rendering 16K and doing all that stuff. But we're using AI in a lot of ways. No one's going to write software for us because you're not going to make enough money in it. But now with like a $20 a month Cursor subscription, I basically have my own like junior developer to like customize code. AI-assisted rotoscoping and denoising are all like hugely important parts of our pipeline. AI-assisted previs, when it's so time-consuming to film and capture and create immersive worlds just due to the sheer compute that you need, having that previs starts to be able to bring some of these traditional 2D tools to help communicate with directors in a medium that is still struggling to find its economic footprint and bring those costs down.
Ooh, man, I like that. And also like telling stories that wouldn't have been told otherwise.
Absolutely.
And feeling something. How many people here watched the Dodgers win the World Series? Show of hands. All right. Don't worry, the VR experience is going to get there some point, but sports is live and well here. I grew up in Toronto, and then I moved to LA, so I was stuck on this weird in-between place. But I really wanted to go, and the game was in Toronto, and I looked like my friends were there. Flying back to Toronto was expensive. The tickets were expensive. It was like a 5 to 10K thing, and I was like, I can't justify that. But Cosm showed the game. We have a video we're going to show at the end that shows the hype. But Devin, what is it like fostering an empathetic space like that for sports games, and how do people react?
So, lifelong Dodger fan, really, everybody often asks, like, what's my favorite thing at Cosm? I mean, basically the Dodgers winning the World Series 2 years in a row is top of that list. But the best part about it is, again, you're jam-packed full of fans. And we regularly have sold-out fan events, but usually there's like some mix of like the two teams involved or whatnot. But it is, everybody across the board. There might have been 2 Toronto fans in the entire building. Everybody, across the board, celebrating the Dodgers, rooting for the Dodgers, and obviously such a big Game 7 victory. But the thing is, again, it's this place for fans to really come and embrace their fandom together. I think you'll see this in some of this video. And tech is an enablement for it. And it is incredible because we literally put you right behind home plate, watching the pitches come in ways you can't see it otherwise. But that's really just the enabler, and it's really about if all the things come together technically, you feel like you're there, and you can celebrate with other people in ways that you do not anticipate unless you're there at the game yourself.
Oh, man. Question 2 for that one game that went really late. Cosm stay open?
So we actually didn't have that game that night.
Okay.
We had a commitment already to cover Monday because it was a Monday night. So we had Monday Night Football.
Monday Night Football. Makes
This is
sense.
one of our embarrassment of riches. We have a very, very wide range of partners from a sports perspective. So we had Monday Night Football that night. Great Monday Night Football game, obviously. But in any case, the one Dodger game we missed, for good or bad, because I probably would have been there, for all 18 innings myself.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to compete with the World Series for any sport that night, but that's exciting. That's awesome. Can we show the clip really quick?
Let's go, hell yeah!
Home run wins it for the Blue Jays. Ground ball.
To celebrate the winning
So,
moment.
gives you
Last year, I actually was personally got to press the button for the confetti cannon. This year, I was down on the second floor for that.
See, I always love the clips of Cosm because when they first come up, sometimes I really go, were they actually there? Like the way you put the camera and frame it and create that immersive experience, it's really designed to put you there. Almost that I think that it's in the stands.
Well, it's similar to what you were talking about with regards to the Blumhouse work that you did. The way you wanted to convey fear was seeing people scared. If we take a video of just the dome,
It doesn't do anything.
Doesn't tell you anything. It looks
Right.
like we're just at the game showing. That's why you notice how much of that is people reacting
Right.
to the experience there.
It's funny, it's like humans are important to communicate emotion.
You think?
Well, I think we really appreciate you humans being on stage today and talking through these things. As we close out here, Katya, from an AI perspective, Showrunner is changing the game. And I think both VR and immersive theaters are traditional. You talked about people coming in, experiencing Showrunner. What leave behind would you give this audience for Showrunner? I didn't approach it until we had talked. How can someone jump in?
Well, you can join our Discord if you want to play with it. So that is how you actually do it. But I guess my thoughts about it are, I think that sometimes media is something that you can consume and you can play with when you're feeling isolated or you just want something, to keep you company in the background. Where I feel like Showrunner takes that feeling and almost solves a problem where media can be social and it can be exciting. You can fully engage with all these characters and you can put yourself in the show. You can put your friends in the show. You can change the ending of a show. And so I love this idea of it's almost like creators can gift their show to their viewers, and the viewers then can take that gift and create fan fiction on a whole new level. And I've talked to creators, and they say the funnest part is they can see their audience, what they like the most about their show, and sort of play that up, but also they get to almost be in competition with their own audience, where their audience can come up with all of these ideas, and the creators are like, how do I top the ideas of my own audience?
Oh, Katya, I love that. All right, well, humans are important. I hope that's what you walk away with. Please check out Showrunner AI, go to Cosm, and watch SNL 50, The Immersive Experience. And thank you so much for your time today, everybody.